No. It's like this. You had a sort of mystery bottle on the shelf some time ago. I remember that. It's the bottle that's been kept, on the shelves and just
Mhm.
keeps. Nobody opens it. It just keeps, gathering up dust. And
Yeah.
then it comes to a time when you look at the label, you can't see a date, but you can see that the
Oh yeah.
price is still in
Ah, okay.
escudos.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
sometimes the label is just so worn off. I have one here. It's called Aguardente Velha.
Oh,
Mhm.
look at that
That's a
bottle.
beautiful bottle.
Yeah,
Hold on a minute. Can you hold that up to the screen? Because that is wonky.
That's so
yeah, it
nice.
is.
Superb. Okay.
And
Curvada.
again, Curvada Velha, it's Aguardente Velha.
Mhm.
Yes.
And again, I'm not sure this is good anymore, but it's like, a staple of the household. It's
Okay.
it's the old bottle that I inherited from, I don't know, probably my dad, I'm guessing.
Wow.
And yeah, and you don't have a date anymore, but you can see that the price was in escudos. I read it. It's
Really
yeah,
Oh my goodness, that's
10
cool.
years ago.
escudos, 10 escudos. So you can tell that it's really old.
Yes. That's incredible. And you're waiting for a special occasion
I
to
don't know
crack
if I'll
it
ever open it, honestly. One half of me wants to open it and
open.
just, live dangerously. The other half says, well, yuck. It's
Yes.
probably going to be awful anyway by now. So
But what
You could use it to
fun.
disinfect a wound if ever you need it. Like if ever
that's
there's
what's
a war or crisis going
good
on,
one.
then you could definitely use it for cleaning.
Incredible. You're right, Katia. I found a bottle of Cantonade.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I decided I would drink it live on a live stream.
It was all
So
right,
that,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
well, it was, but I mean, I could have had paramedics summoned. I, did, I didn't know what was in there, frankly. But I tried it live on air, and it wasn't too bad
Yeah.
as it turned out. But I think it had been repurposed. That's the problem with if the seal is not there, you don't really know what's in it, do you?
Yeah,
So
no, this one is sealed,
yeah, I
but
think it's
I
best to
don't
stick
know.
to the sealed ones with the mystery
Yeah.
bottles by the sound. Given that we're talking about the booze, Katia is here with us to do that. And you are, of course, the great Beyond Lisbon blogger. And we had a compliment in. Somebody enjoyed one of your blogs. I'm trying to find it now. I don't know if you saw that. But
Uh,
was it the OLP possibly? Oh, here we go. It's from James. I enjoyed your piece
oh,
on cafe culture
oh,
in the current
thank you.
edition of Portugal Living Obrigado. So you want to be looking for Beyond Lisbon, Cátia Lima, and to find out more about what Cátia does. Joins us every month to talk about indie Portugal, basically, and other sides of Portuguese life that we wouldn't ordinarily find out for ourselves. This month, we're looking at lesser-known Portuguese booze. You've talked to us about the mystery bottle and the lovely tradition of how the patriarch traditionally might have a special bottle when they're abroad as a Portuguese expat themselves to share and to
Mhm.
remember home. What else can you tell us then about what might be on our shopping list and how we should behave this Christmas when it comes to the lesser known food?
Well, continuing on that idea of the mystery bottle, and I'd just like to say that, especially if you're in the countryside or in smaller towns, or if you are with a Portuguese family that does have, family in the countryside, you might come across some homemade liqueur. Usually, they're made with things like ginger as well. You can
Oh
make
yeah,
your own homemade ginger, and other things like herbs and even orange peel or cinnamon sticks, anything like that. So it's a kind of a different take on the mystery bottle, and I don't have any here with me,
why
but
is that, Katia? Has it all been
but
drunk? By any
sorry,
chance?
sorry,
Has it all been drunk already?
sorry.
Have you drunk it all already? Is that why
No, no,
there's
no.
no
I don't have. I don't have any. But my granddad used to have a few that he
right?
made himself. He used to make his own ginger.
Did he? And
Yeah.
tell us. Oh, so he was a ginger maker. Which part of Portugal would that be?
Um. Well, ginger is usually associated with what we call Oeste. Alcobaça, Óbidos. And today, most people associate ginger with Óbidos and the chocolate cups.
Yes.
But in fact, ginger is traditional or original from Alcobaça,
Yeah.
because the Cistercian monks that used to live in the Alcobaça monastery, they created ginger in the same. I mean, with the same idea that other sorts of herb and spices liquors were created in other parts of the world. For those who might be familiar with Hungary, you may have heard of something called unicum, which is it's a herb and spices too, I believe, liquor that was supposed to be medicinal. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. But
always.
but that's the blueprint for other liquors that I want to tell you about. Like, for example,
Excellent. There we go.
yeah, this one is made with puejo, pennyroyal.
Okay.
And pennyroyal, it's something that you'll usually find. Well, you can find it all over the country, in things like soups, fish stews, that sort of thing. But it's most commonly used in the south, especially in Alentejo.
Okay. Well,
And
never
yeah,
seen that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
is if I look a bit harder in the supermarket, will we find these, or do you have to go to a specialist?
Uh, Probably not in the supermarket unless it's some special time like now Christmas where they might have more things on offer.
Yes.
But usually you can only find this. Oh, sorry. Also on markets like that also have handicrafts, that kind of
Okay.
thing, where you'll
Yeah.
find stalls from different parts of the country.
Yeah. Sure.
If
Well,
not, then go to Alentejo. I bought
okay.
this bottle in Algesur or Vila Nova de Mil Fontes. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think it
okay.
was in Vila Nova de Mil Fontes. That's a
Well,
lovely
that's
town on
worth
the
doing, isn't
coast.
it? What a beautiful
Uh,
place to go to and bring that
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
It's
Fantastic.
lovely. For those who don't know, pennyroyal belongs to the mint family. So
Okay.
this tastes sort of fresh. Not
Pennyroyal. Yes.
exactly like mint, but
Got it. Okay. Well,
yeah,
that's good to know. And of course, yeah, if you can possibly support your garrafeira, your local wine merchant, they'll probably be able to track it down for you, right? And I just discovered Estado Liquido in Caldas de Rainha, which is the most incredible wine shop I've ever been to in my life, actually. I'm sure they'll have it. So Licor do Poejo, that's the one,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. Licor de Coelho,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you need the spelling, Antonio F is helping us out here. That's fantastic. Didn't know about that one. What else have you got for us this morning, Katia?
Then, along those lines, something I tried for the first time some years ago in Monsanto. I'm not sure if you ever heard of it. It's a little village near
Yeah.
the border with Spain.
Oh,
It's in
okay.
central Portugal. It
Right.
used to be. It's still known as the most Portuguese of Portuguese villages. It's a
Yes.
long story.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's acorn liquor,
Oh, bolota.
bulota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's interesting because on Monday we had the Trinkas bolota, the fallen acorn
Mm,
wine, which is quite popular. But this is acorn liqueur by the look of it.
yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
is. I
And
first tasted
how does
something
it
like
taste?
this in how can I describe it? Earthy.
Earthy.
It's dense. It's not as like, for example, Puig is sort of fresh, and this
Yes.
is not. This is more earthy. I don't know exactly how to describe it. The first time I tasted it was in Monsanto, like I was telling you.
Yeah.
It was a really foggy late afternoon, and I found my way into a little bar, and I had this shelf full of bottles of different
Found
sorts of
my
liquor,
way into a little bar.
and that's where I
Superb.
first tasted it. Yeah,
Okay, that's Blotter then. That's
yeah,
brilliant. These are fantastic. And yeah, I think when we come to Portugal as foreigners, we do see the Beralda. We see the heavily marketed ones. We see the Ginginha and Ginger. So this is a real treat for us.
yeah.
And I want to find out from you as well how to drink politely and correctly when in Portuguese company. But do you have any more for us that we should know about?
Yeah. Just a little thing about ginger.
Yeah.
I have an old bottle here.
Beauty. Hold on. Let me just get a close up on that.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, that's a fabulous bottle, isn't it?
Yeah.
With with
Also
those,
has the price
oh,
in escudos as well. So
does it? So it's an old one, another old one.
yeah.
No. When did a scooter leave Portugal? Was that 1986?
No, 2000, I believe.
Oh, okay. So the
Yeah.
union with the EU was 86, I think, and then the
This
currency
one
left
was
it.
15 escudos, I think.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, and it's worth keeping for that reason alone, isn't it? What a lovely historical
Yeah,
art.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd just like to say for those who like drinking their ginger with the chocolate cups, which is what most people do these days. As you may have guessed, it's not a traditional way of drinking it, although it
Mm.
is convenient. It tastes like, having one of those bonbons, what they're called,
Yeah, chocolate liqueur.
moncherie. Yeah.
Mon chéri. And also it's ecological as well, isn't it? No
Yeah,
washing
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah,
No
exactly.
waste. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And if you go to some place, like in Lisbon, for example, there are at least 2 traditional places that sell ginginha. You can ask, although they will serve it in glass cups, not in chocolate cups. You can ask for it with the cherries or without the cherries. But you don't say com as gingas, you say com elas, okay, or sem elas.
Okay.
That's the traditional way of saying it. Ginja
Uh,
com elas, if you want to have the cherries, or
yeah.
ginja sem elas, if you just want to drink with no cherries.
Elosh is not the word for cherry, though, is it?
It's them, with them or
Oh,
without them.
okay, I've got you now. Okay, so
Elas,
with them,
the
Elosh,
ginger,
uh,
as
with them,
ginjas.
Elosh. Okay, all right, gotcha. I was thinking, yeah, hold on a minute, that's not how you say cherry, but yeah, with them or without them, which is a useful bit of vocabulary to pick up. So, con Elosh or sans Elosh
Yeah,
is a
I can
useful.
write it down here on the
You can
chat.
use that in other contexts, folks, and that's a beautiful thing about talking to Katia. We get educated on many fronts when Katia's here on Indie Portugal Thursday. Okay, so that's fantastic, and I don't think this is one we've already had. But what is the name of the liqueur from Monchique?
Yeah, it's medronho. I have here a
Oh,
bottle,
Madronia.
not
Okay,
of medronho, but medronho. It's not exclusive to Monchique, but it's usually associated with Monchique.
okay.
And there's something you can also make something that I have here. It's called melosa, which is basically medronho mixed with honey.
Okay, I just need to zoom in on you there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
These are beautiful labels. I love the labels. They look like they're made on old-fashioned printing machines, and they've stuck to the original sort of design and graphics, haven't they?
I got this bottle from that place that I mentioned on my previous time
Ah,
here on
yes.
Doçaria do Sul.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I got this bottle from.
And that's one of the indie brands or the indie brand purveyors that you can
Yeah,
find in our shop. Our Gumper store specializes in supporting the small businesses, and we'll make sure the Scoundrels Distillery goes in there as well. That's fantastic. So that would be from Monchique Way, that
yeah,
particular one. That's in Algarve.
yeah, in Algarve. Yeah,
Okay.
you can find in several parts of the Algarve, not exclusively in Monchique, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. There are several, says Antonio F.
Yeah,
Apparently, but one is called Melosa
it's
Madronia
this
Mel
one here.
Arbutus and honey there. That this is fantastic, really good, and just going back a little way there and talking of the I suppose the tradition and the lineage of these things. It reflects Portuguese history, doesn't it? Portuguese, the great world travelers, coming back with different flavors and herbs and spices and putting them in the booze. It's just such a
Yeah,
lovely
yeah, yeah, yeah.
reference to the history of Portugal as
Here,
well.
this in this case, for example, melosa. Some people just add honey to
Yeah.
medronho, and some others, besides the honey, also add cinnamon and lemon peel. For those who don't know or haven't been in Portugal long enough, lemon peel and cinnamon are 2 very common flavorings that we use in a lot of things, even in desserts like leite creme, arroz doce. All of those use cinnamon and lemon peel.
True.
Cinnamon, of course, not being natural, native to Portugal. So,
That's an interesting point, actually. I wonder where most cinnamon production takes place because the bacalhau comes in from the north of Europe, doesn't it? And I wonder where the cinnamon comes in. These are traditional Portuguese things, but not necessarily
Southeast
created in
Asia, I believe.
Southeast Asia. Okay, that's really interesting. Carlos is telling us that Lisa has fallen in love with the ginger, especially the chocolate cups. Very understandable. And as you say there, Katia, a little bit of a thing that's been created by tourism as well, but. It's a lovely little
Mhm.
we were there's a video of Mrs. M trying the ginger in a chocolate cup from Alcobaça last week. It's just a lovely little ritual, and it was I think €1 a shot. It was very affordable, so she had a couple of
Yeah.
those there. All right,
And
so
I've seen in, sorry, I was just going to say in Óbidos, last time I was here, I was there, sorry. I also um, come across at least one place that had ginger, which obviously was not ginger, for kids in chocolate cups. And it was basically a cherry syrup.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, my kid loved it, of course,
I
because
bet. Yeah, getting in on the act. I mean, when
they
Mrs.
feel like they're being part of the whole ritual, It's,
For sure, and it's a lovely combination, cherry and chocolate, isn't it? And I know
yeah,
with our
yeah.
kids, our eldest said, "Mum, can I have the chocolate cup?" Nope. Mum, Mum was keeping
No
that.
sharing.
So, normally she's all about the sharing, but on this occasion, no. Sometimes we're learning a different lesson. We were gifted a litre of Madronia infused with figs, and it lasted about 2 weeks. That one sounds good, doesn't it? And Madronia, of
It
course,
does.
it's harvest time, isn't it? This is the tree strawberry, so people know.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't
you
have
can,
anything to do with strawberries, though. I don't
it
know why they
doesn't
call it.
it is,
Why
yeah,
it has strawberry in the name. I don't know.
yeah, because you are. It's a bit disappointing, isn't it? If someone says, that's the strawberry tree over there, you think, oh, that sounds nice. It's winter. I wouldn't mind a strawberry off a tree, and then you eat it, and it's it's kind of grainy tasting, isn't it? And if you get a
Yeah.
good one, you get a good one, but they've got such a coating on them that if it picks up cobwebs or something,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
they're not a clean fruit, are they? And they're very patchy and
But they're
inconsistent.
delicious. If you're hiking in central Portugal in the south and you can come across a madronio tree,
Yes.
it's delicious to just eat a few from the tree.
And they're high in
Although,
vitamin C.
yeah, although I'm sure if you know any Portuguese people, they will tell you to not eat a lot of them in a row because apparently that's not good for you. But you can have a few, and that's great.
I
It's
imagine, yeah,
yeah,
like vitamin C infused things that you might get a little bit of a laxative effect is maybe, and that's not convenient when you're out hiking.
no,
Okay. I want I want all the bottles Katya is showing. They all look delicious. And if
they're
we were
mine.
yes, step back from the bottles, Moaz. If we were more kind of switched on and corporate here, we might have a hamper ready at the end of the show saying "ta-da!" and you can buy all of these now in one single hamper. But I'm sure somebody can help with that, like the company we
Yeah.
showed in the Algarve and some of the companies that we've got inside the Gumper store there. So on to the next one then, as Victoria's telling us that she loves Malossa as well. How many,
Next, I have
how many have you got there, Katya?
I have one my mom's favorites. You can't really see.
Is there
Oh,
something
sorry.
in the bottle? What
Yeah.
is that? Oh, elderflower.
Here you have a layer of sugar,
Oh my
and here
goodness.
you have. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to. Oops.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's a bit of fennel.
Fennel. Okay, that looks
Fennel.
great.
This is called anise escarchado.
Yeah.
These are
And
ladies from Madeira.
oh, okay. And a
Yeah,
beautiful label. Another beautiful
yeah,
label.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's superb.
Let me
Tell us
see the
about that one then.
price
So
for this one.
there's going to be a serious aniseed fennel flavor going on in this one, we're guessing.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking for the price. Well, no, but it must be recent. I'm guessing.
No, not a Scudder,
Guessing.
no.
No, I can see any escudos in here. Well, it's made with fennel, and it's they make a sort of syrup with the sugar, and in this case, I don't know exactly why, but in some of the bottles you can still see the sugar glued to the fennel.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
brilliant.
it's kind of a decoration item in itself, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a wonderful thing about a lot of booze, isn't it? Is the labeling and the little
Yeah.
surprises. Oh, thank you. Like a what? That's a funny color, Mrs. M. Is that what have you done to me? Have you made me a cocktail? I think she's put Berrao and Aguardent together, possibly. There,
Ooh.
I'm pouring that into my coffee so that I can actually get the cheirinho on that. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado for that. Yeah, that's. I mean, can you imagine having the fennel stick in there with sugar encrusted on it? I mean, people presumably try and get that out of the bottle at the end and eat the eat the sugar coated fennel, possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
That could work, and it
uh,
would be infused with booze as well, wouldn't it?
yeah, of course.
Oh my goodness.
Some people also make this at home. It's one of those that you can make at home with a syrup and the fennel. Not much else I can tell you about it. It's how can I say? It's dense, but kind of. Sorry, I don't know how to use.
Complex. I would have thought.
Yeah. The texture itself, it's like syrupy. You know, it's
Okay.
dense again. It's
No,
but it's good. It's
and
usually drunk at the end of a meal.
and the sugar content there
Yeah.
you can see in the bottom of the bottle there. A few more
Yes.
comments. In Portugal has so much to offer. As tourists, we go for the typical mainstream Portuguese stuff. I'm excited to discover all the gems there, and that's exactly what Cátia has decided very thoughtfully to do for us today, and give us a little bit of a taste of not literally, but a sense of the other alcohol that you're not going to see necessarily on the tourist trail or in the supermarket. I'm not much of a foodie, but drinks in moderation, yes. A great question from the OLP. You seeing the screen okay there, Mrs. M? Okay, there we go. Let's bring her back on. She's joining us again. How fantastic. Cátia, is there a prominent orange liqueur in Portugal? And yes, considering, Jean, that how many orange trees are on the Algarve, is there one? You're shaking your head. I think not.
No, not that I know of, but it's something that you'll find again if you have neighbors or family members who make their own.
Ah,
It's one
yes.
of the things you'll most likely to find. It's I remember, I'm not sure if it was my granddad or my mom. I remember seeing a bottle of homemade liquor with orange peel. So it's
Oh,
one of those that you can easily make at home. So I doubt anyone would go to the trouble of actually building it to sell, because it's something you can make at home. It just, yeah, I mean, there's a recipe for that, of course, and just have to be patient and just forget about the bottle for a couple of months, and that's it. So
isn't that brilliant? You're quite the brewer, aren't you, Mrs. M? You've made some fantastic
I made
booze
all
and
your drinks for your 50th birthday party, didn't
you
I?
did, didn't you?
Yeah.
With dandelions,
Dandelions, nettles,
Yeah.
wow.
and some of those strange strawberry tree things.
The Madronia.
Bronho.
You know
Yeah,
what?
yeah, because we had a madronia
we-
tree in Devon,
It was
in
a
England.
sign. It was a sign.
It was, wasn't it?
Incredible. A question for you, Cátia. I think some people are already coming to the aid of Jess. They're asking what the liqueur served in the chocolate cups.
It's ginger.
It is ginger. Do you say though ginger or ginginha? What's your view on that?
In Portugal, we love our inhos and inhas.
Yes.
But it's the same. I don't know. It's the
Okay.
same thing.
All right. Travis and Andy need to do an orange liqueur. That could work up there in Porto, couldn't it? Is to take some Algarvian oranges up there. He sounds like he's open to brewing with anything up there as well and experimenting.
Yeah, the thing is about orange liquor is that today, and especially like around this time of the year, if you go to any of those Christmas markets or anything like that, you'll find liquors made of virtually anything. Because once you get how to make it, it's a fairly easy process if you have the space to make it, and so you can find liquors made with anything. Even I have a bottle there of I think it's blackberry liquor, ginger liquor, rose petal liquor, of course, but they're not in the traditional side of things, so I didn't bring them here. But today you can find that sort of they're basically, I think they're just infusions, but
Okay.
with spirits. So
All
they're
right. So
very easy to make, and you can find a lot of variations today.
cultural question for you then. Clearly, you have a very comprehensive drinks cabinet. Okay, some of which we've seen today. So that's quite a normal Portuguese habit, is it, to have a well stocked and diverse drinks cabinet?
Yeah, I think that's something that at least my generation got from our parents and grandparents. It's fairly common if you go to if you visit someone who like who's already a grandparent, you'll see at least a shelf with special bottles, and a few mystery bottles in there as well. Um, because as a rule, of course, there will be exceptions, but as a rule, we tend to drink as part of a whole social ritual, not
Yes.
so much, drinking for the sake of drinking. Of course,
Yeah.
there will be times when people will do it, but as a rule, we drink as part of a social ritual, which is why at the end of a long meal with all the family, you'll have the patriarch proudly bringing his special bottles to the table, so
Yeah.
everyone can share and have a glass or two.
Brilliant.
And of
Brilliant.
course, if you've got big families, that's a
What,
great
what
way
else?
to have lots of social drinking, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's funny. It's funny because some time ago I came across a meme. I shared it on my Facebook at the time. Uh, it was something along the lines of, if you're in a family gathering in Portugal or with the Portuguese family abroad, doesn't matter, and and then one of the uncles offers you a glass of aguardente. Of course, if it's a homemade aguardente, you're in for a real experience. But in a way, it's kind of it still is in many ways a kind of a rite of passage, coming of age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is
Yeah.
that coming of age? Like I remember when I lived in France, parents would give their children watered down wine, or wine watered down with lemonade, from an early age at special meals and things like that.
No, we don't
Like
do
really
that kind
from
of thing.
childhood.
No.
What's the sort of rules, the social norms here?
We don't do that kind of thing, like watering down wine. We don't do that. Especially with
Give them
I
wine.
thought
children.
that's what.
No,
Yeah, I thought that's
no,
what you
no,
meant.
no, no. No.
Like, do you give
But it's not uncommon to. It's not uncommon to. In a family gathering again. In a family gathering, to see the teenager, being offered. But we're talking about 15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Not like
Being
4 or 5.
offered a shot of something like a homemade aguardiente to just, have a taste of real life and grow some
Yeah.
hair in your chest. And
Taste of real life.
yeah.
Oh, that's superb. Okay, some more wonderful input from the Gumpers here. Well, Peter, sorry, I think I missed this earlier on. You were talking about Grand Marnier, and I was wondering if they have a cognac similar to that. So I think the orange flavored themed drinks would be homemade from what you're saying,
Yeah.
Katia. Anita in Lisbon, good morning to you. Hola, bon dia. My mother is from Madeira. She would pour other alcohol into the empty aniseed bottle when the crystallized tree was all that was left. That's really good repurposing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what it is. Probably aguardente. Could you tell us one more time what that one was called? Because Mrs. M didn't see that.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm going to write it down for those because it's a complicated name.
It's got
It's
the fennel
Anish.
inside the bottle.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
Anish Cachado. I'm going to show you the
okay.
bottle
Here you
again.
go. Here's the bottle just one more time. This is the one that
Sorry.
Oh wow.
isn't that lovely?
Yeah,
Look
that's
at that
beautiful.
inside the bottle there.
Yeah.
I thought it was an elderflower plant.
No, it's fennel.
Yeah,
Class, isn't it?
superb. Right now, says Moaz, I'm looking at my bottle of limoncello and I'm hearing open. I mean, limoncello, that's a nice one, isn't it? Excellent stuff. So a good well-stocked drinks cabinet is de rigueur, or I should say that in Portuguese rather than French there. Normal. Normal.
Exactly.
Obrigatorio.
Obligatorio, there you go. Or otherwise, you can write in the family complaints book if it's not enough food. And this is an interesting thing as well culturally, because I think it takes a while, doesn't it, to be invited into the home of Portuguese friends and family. A lot of Portuguese socializing is done outside, isn't it, the cafe or the restaurant. So if you are invited into the Portuguese friend's home
That's
or
special.
that's a special moment, isn't it? And then you might get treated to the extra drinks cabinet experience. And we were, weren't we, when we first arrived in Portugal? We were one of the many houses we lived in. The family invited us to their home, and they had a really fantastic entertaining area, and that's a bit of a thing as well, isn't it? I think where you have it was almost like a family room that was a bit of a bar and a lounge.
Yeah, some people do that. Yeah.
It was like a proper, from my perspective, it looked like a proper lounge bar underneath. Like it almost felt like we were going somewhere very sacred, and all of the wood was really polished and shiny, and
it was beautiful.
Yeah,
and there was food, and it was an intermediate space. So we weren't going into the home. We were going into like an annex entertaining area of the home, as it's kind of you're not quite family, but you're welcome into this.
Yeah.
You're nodding your head. That's a thing, is it?
Yeah. Well, for those who have the room to make it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, yeah, and then sort of
and it had
in the villa home.
it had like the finest china and glasses and
Well, let's raise a glass to the Bandeiras family for very kindly inviting us into that level of intimacy. And on that note, then, Katia, you know, people coming from UK, US, and other places will be wanting to invite people into their homes and have a drink at Christmas. What is the etiquette around that? And people shouldn't be disappointed if they're not invited into a Portuguese home, right? Because it is quite sacred and intimate.
It is. It's not. How can I explain this? Even in my generation, that's a bit of an inherited feeling of, you know, no matter how clean and tidy my house is, it will never be clean and tidy enough. You know, that's something our mothers just
Right.
screw into our heads.
Yes.
So we're always feeling like we're not good enough. That's a fact. And that's the main reason why we don't invite people that often into our homes. Although I do have to say, and I have seen this happen quite often, it does not just around Christmas time, in other times as well. Especially if you're, not Portuguese, but you're living in Portugal, you don't have any family or a lot of friends here, it's quite likely that a Portuguese family will somehow adopt you and invite you for meals and to go out with you. My own family did that a couple of times. It doesn't don't feel bad if you're not invited into the home space.
Yeah, it's not a personal, is it? It's just
No,
cultural.
no. In terms of drinks, like I said, especially around this time of the year, most of the drinking happens at the end of the meal, or
Yes.
at least, I mean, you'll probably have some wine to go with the meal, but this sort of liquor drinking happens mostly at the end of the meal, with dessert, when everybody's sitting back with their big bellies, like, oh god, like feeling like a boa constrictor after you've eaten a big animal. It's just like, actually, I have a word for that in Portuguese. It's giboiar. I'm going to write it down.
Oh, we need that
Oh,
word.
yeah.
We need that Christmassy word, don't we? Giboria.
Giboiar, which is
Giboiar.
basically what, jiboia, it's like a big snake.
Well, it's a wafer thin mint moment, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Giboiar is when you're just so full, just have to, sit back, relax a bit, and just give your belly some breathing space.
Bit of space and loosen the belt, and then
Yeah.
hopefully don't take somebody's eye out with a flying button. Yes. So, Mrs. M, you missed this when you're having the
Yeah.
ginginha. You can go coelish or sailish with them or without them, which would be the fruit actually in the glass. Okay, which is a lovely bit of vocab. And the fennel one is the anish escachardo. There.
Sounds wonderful.
Doesn't it?
I've got a question. From where we've spent time with Portuguese people, and where we've had parties here, and where we've gone to other people's houses and stuff. What I've noticed is it's really hard to out gift a Portuguese person.
Oh yeah.
And I wondered what the protocol is. Like, if you're invited over for food, what do you take? Because like in England, it's a little bit touch and go. And maybe in the last decade, people start to bring a gift for the person that's cooking. And that gift is usually a bottle of wine or something, and maybe some snacks. And my experience of Portuguese people is that's just not good enough, or they never seem offended if I think maybe like the first time we went to a Portuguese home, or spent time with Portuguese people, I think like we brought a bottle of drink and a nice snack, not like a packet of crisps, but something that looked really nice. But we've had people bring like gifts for the children, chocolates, a book, all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, what is the protocol? Is there a protocol? They always seem to bring more than everyone else.
It depends a bit on the situation. I mean, if it's a birthday party, for example, you're expected to bring a gift to the person, of course, who's celebrating his birthday, his or her birthday.
Yeah.
But if it's a child, you'll often see that people also bring smaller gifts to the other children, so they don't get jealous of the main kid. It depends a bit on the situation. If it's something like just a normal family celebration of any kind, if it's something like a Christmas night or New Year's, one good option would be to bring something special. And when I say special, it doesn't have to be expensive, but in the sense that it can be like an entree, for example, or a dessert. Please don't mess with the main dish because that's dangerous. That's dangerous. But it's nice to bring like an entree or a dessert that's traditional from your country, or that has a special, a family tradition.
That makes sense. We've had dessert,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
Baked beans.
And tell the story about it. tell the story
Oh,
that's
Tell the
surrounding it.
story.
Yeah, yeah,
That is superb. That's superb.
that's
Yeah.
great information. Thank you.
yeah.
Katia, I'm aware your time is precious, and we're coming up to
No,
10
it's okay.
o'clock.
It's okay. It's a
Okay,
holiday here in Portugal. Remember today.
we
So
didn't say that, did we?
Oh gosh,
It is a
isn't it?
holiday today, so
yeah.
everyone breathing out and maybe having an earlier drink than usual on this special day when Katia has been telling us about the lesser known Portuguese booze brands. Are there any more you wanted to tell us about? Because we've got quite a few
Yeah,
comments.
just a couple more.
Please do. Yeah,
One of
absolutely.
them, yeah, one of them is my favorite, and sadly, for some reason, I don't have a bottle here at home.
For
And
some reason,
I swore I had one. I don't know. I looked up and down. I didn't find it. So sorry. Um, which is amêndoa amarga, bitter almond liquor, also known as
Ooh.
amarguinha. Yeah, amarguinha is one of the brands, but a lot of people just refer
Marguinha.
to it as amarguinha. Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay.
write it down here.
Did you say a
Uh,
bitter almond liqueur?
bitter almond.
Sounds
Yeah.
wonderful.
That does sound. That's very particular, isn't it? You're gonna. Yeah, it's a Marmite one. You're gonna like that or hate that one, I think.
I like it. I quite like it. It's kind of
Is it
on the sweet
marzipan?
side,
A sort of like an amaretto almost, a Portuguese amaretto, possibly.
kind of sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's usually you will usually find it in the Algarve because the Algarve has a strong tradition of anything involving almonds, as well as Bragança. Although Bragança, for some reason, didn't come up with amêndoa amarga, but anyway, it's traditional from the Algarve, and it can be drunk.
So,
Usually, people just drink it plain, room temperature.
yeah.
But some years ago, I was at a wedding reception, and the barman told me that you can also drink it with a chilled. You fill the glass with it, chilled, and then you add some lemon drops on top. You don't mix them.
Mm.
You don't mix them.
Oh,
You
you
just
sip
add the
it through the
lemon.
lemon drops. Okay. So that hits the
For people who
nose
don't
first.
like, yeah, and for people who don't like this sort of drink, it's easier to drink, basically. Also because it's chilled.
Right. Okay. You don't have to hold your nose. You just get distracted by
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fragrances. Okay. Superb. Antonio
yeah,
thinks the bottle might be in the trash bin, maybe,
yeah.
of that particular one.
Mine, what? Yeah, what the Amberguinho one? No, no, not shade.
Yes. 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 It's none of our business. And I think
And
you have a
then,
final
yeah,
one for us. Is this the
yeah,
ultimate?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or is
Yeah, it
this
is.
last for a reason?
It is because you may also come across again in times like this in Portuguese families, uh, across some rarities. Let's call them like that. In this case, I have something here. You've probably heard of muscatel and
Yes.
favaias.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Definitely.
This one is purple muscatel. It's your
Ooh.
husband.
Look at the color of that.
And yeah, sorry, I just I'm terrible with this. Okay. Um,
Regal.
I've never seen that
yeah,
in the shops.
That one's popular.
yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of rare because it uses a specific type of muscatel grape, purple grapes, and they were almost extinct a few years ago. But then this brand, José Maria da Fonseca, they managed to, make some more grapes to revive the whole thing, and they made them muscatel exclusively with this sort of grape. And
Wow.
although other companies just followed suit, it's still not as common as the normal muscatel. So it's a bit of a rarity, and that's also something you can come across, in family gatherings in Portugal at this time of the year. Has a beautiful color.
Doesn't it just?
Yeah, and it tastes a bit more delicate than normal muscatel.
If we could have the name for that one as well, because Tea
Oh
Duck
yeah, I'm just gonna
missed a
write.
chunk of the show, but we'll watch the replay, take
Yeah,
notes, and sips as well. What a lovely education you've given us this
Mm.
morning, Katia. I really
Yeah,
appreciate you
thank
for
you so
that.
much.
And a few people needing to leave now. We've kept them, but we must go back to the comments that we didn't catch earlier on. And thank you for staying with us, Katia. If you wish, if you need to go, do let us know.
no, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay, because it's a nice, easygoing holiday day today, and there was quite a lot that we missed out. I'm scrolling and scrolling. I've got repetitive strain injury getting to the top of the comments today, right back to the 7:45 greeting from T Duck Bon Deal Agria Gumpers, and so If you've got any more questions about Portuguese booze and the lesser known varieties, do stick them in the comments before we go today, as we're celebrating. Do you know, when I poured in that Barão into my coffee, it sunk to the bottom. And I feel like I've just drunk it all in one go at the bottom of the cup there. Barão in coffee as a shirinho, I'm not sure. It tastes a bit like there's still washing up liquid in the cup. Deep thought.
Gross.
Deep thought. Okay. That's the real name of Mother Teresa. Then I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. Mother Teresa, her real name, or her original name, I should say, Mary Teresa Borjaju, better known as Mother Teresa, was an Indian Albanian Catholic nun who, in 1950, founded the Missionaries of Charity. Thank you very much. Let's see how we get on here, Mrs. M. I think with Cátia here, you should do this one. Is it a bit
What?
Não chorar. Sorry.
No, sure, sobre leite derramado. I'll do it. So don't cry.
Don't cry over spilled milk.
It's okay to cry over spilled liqueurs, though, isn't it? Because
If you've had one too many glasses.
Yeah, who cares? Yes.
And if you're a sad drunk, yeah.
Yes, Hugo Nuno. December the 8th is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, of course. That's what we're celebrating and observing today in Portugal. It's a public holiday and a day off for the general population. So despite being a bit rainy, although I think the sun's come out in the capital, we are having an easygoing day today. Schools and most businesses are closed. Okay, so as much as I wanted to go and see Finanzas today, they're not going to be open. I'm going to have to put it off for another day. Okay, and we will climax with the dad jokes, as we often do, after we've said hello to James with his Feliz Quinta Toros and Como va. And cue this: when we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah,
Isn't
definitely.
that lovely? Yeah, really good. And a Yogi Berra quote of the day: you've got to be very careful if you don't know where you're going, because you might not get there. Also,
But you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know you hadn't got there.
Yeah. Which is kind of helpful.
Ooh. God's squad tip of the day. Then chatting yesterday online with Bob Wenger, and he's the Bob Bullworker Wenger, if you don't mind. He was talking about using his legs when lifting rather than his back. It's sometimes difficult, but try to keep your back straight. Squat the legs. Don't bend from the hips. Bend the knees. And from Anna, Bon dia alegria todos, starting to dry out from yesterday's weather. But it's coming again, isn't it? The second storm this week in the Algarve. Is it rainy where you are? What's going on, Cátia, in your experience here? This is much more rain than we might expect, right, in a Portuguese winter?
No, it's normal. The thing is, we had a lot of rain in a relatively short amount of time yesterday.
But normal. You're not at all shocked by the amount of rain.
It's winter. We're supposed to have rain. I mean,
300 days.
It's not winter yet. I know it's not winter yet. I know, but yeah.
You're not shocked.
No.
Okay, I'm just disappointed and not shocked then.
I'm disappointed
because it doesn't seem to end.
It's only been
It's only been 3 months of rain, hasn't it?
No, we had a beautiful couple of days. Yesterday we were beach combing.
All right, let me stop moaning then. Okay, sorry everybody. It's 300 days of sunshine, but they don't tell you about the 65 days of rain. Huge bright white lightning strike followed by near immediate deafening thunder very near to us last night. How exciting. Power went out, but was surprisingly restored. You had an outage, restored within about 10 minutes. Nice work there. Deagle also in earlier on. Bon dia, Colin Gumpers from a Baltic Belfast at -2. I should stop moaning. Got to go out listening to my head. Can't wait to get home to sit in front of the fire. That sounds lovely. Mehmet, thank you for joining us this morning. Deagle has a union meeting. Health workers going on strike on Monday the 12th for safe staffing. Over 7,000 vacancies across our health system. There's your fourth turning crisis right there, folks. Also pay parity, as no pay rise in Northern Ireland this year. Everyone was clapping for them, but they don't want to give them a pay rise.
Yeah, that seems a bit off.
Very strange. Fully support you, says Coach Turner. I suspect the pressure is building.
I imagine it is.
Is it just me? I love a question that starts like this. Is it just me? And we will give you an answer to this. Or is there really a lot of conversation about alcohol and alcohol consumption or overconsumption on this show? Not just today, but also in general. Ooh.
Well, you know what? My comments are all coming from the feeling of I just want to feel ease in my body at the minute. I just want to feel really comforted, really cozy. I want to just feel like I'm indulging my body in a way that just feels sensuous and divine.
Yes.
So it's not coming from the position of, come on, let's get wasted.
Dependency. Well, that's something
Yeah,
it's definitely something
it's-
that Portuguese can teach us, right? Is to drink socially and gladly and luxuriously and with appreciation and consciousness.
Yeah, I mean that's what's where I think it's coming from with me at the minute, is from a place of appreciation. And actually, I think you should be quite pleased about it, because Carl normally says, "How does that wine taste?" When I do, and I say,
Like wine.
"It's just wine." So I've never really appreciated things before.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at things from a new position of appreciation.
Yeah, good point there, James.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have these points coming in, you know, as a little balance, check and balance. I think we do talk about boozing quite a lot. It's a man cave thing for sure. Lee was on 1 beer a day and all that, taking pictures of his beer wherever he was. And I think the key message, and this is a great thing that the Portuguese, I think, are teaching us, is to drink with appreciation and consciousness. Because in our cultures of the US and UK, people do drink to lose themselves sometimes.
Yeah. I have a friend in the UK. Who told me once, you know, ginger is nice. I don't really like it because it's sweet, but it's nice. But you don't get drunk from it, do you? And I told him, no, you're not supposed to get drunk from ginger unless you're a 90-year-old lady. You know, you're not supposed to get drunk from ginger unless, of course, you could drink like 2 bottles in a row, something like that. But it's just, you're supposed to drink it, you know, and appreciate the flavor, and it's just something you drink with friends, you know, at the end of the meal, something like that. You're not drinking to get drunk.
Quite.
Yeah.
Very good.
That is so embarrassingly British. You can't get drunk, can you? I mean, so what's the point? Greetings from Alvor. Hey, it's stopping raining here. We'll start again soon. Don't worry, Paul. Thanks, Ian. Clapping on a Thursday night. Never employed a midwife, porter, domestic healthcare worker, or nurse. Well done, you health workers. Stand up. The storm was amazing last night. Thunder and lightning. Very, very frightening indeed. Sun's out just now and drying out in Casalomba. I think this is where we got to in the comments. Thank you, everybody, for your... We had a lovely comment about your hair. People enjoying your shorter hair, Mrs. M, even though you're not, I think. Okay, and apologies if we missed any comments. Let's finish with a dad joke or two. I've got a coffee, cheirinho, and a few dad jokes. What a fantastic start to the
Sorry,
day.
I shouldn't kind of brush off those comments. Thank you very much if you've written in something nice about me. So
yes, there you go. Nicely done. Nicely done. Okay. Dad jokes. Why did the ram run off the cliff?
That's actually good.
It didn't see the U-turn. Very good. My watch went on vacation. It needed to rewind. Oh, that's a proper dad joke, that one, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah. And have you heard the music of the planets? I prefer Neptune's. Very good indeed. Thank you so much, T-Duck, for those. Thank you, Cátia, for being here and educating us. It's always a pleasure to be in your company, and the way you go about sharing your culture with us, we're so grateful for. So thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. It was great to be here again.
And have a wonderful holiday day today. Are you going to take it nice and easy, or have you got a busy one?
I have a busy one.
Okay, I'll let you get on with that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so
much. And we look forward to seeing you. Oh, well, let us wish you and yours, Boas Festas, Feliz Natal.
Yeah,
and we'll see you in the new year.
Yeah, definitely.
2023. Yes, Boas Festas. Ciao. There she goes. Cátia Lima.
Bye.
Beijinhos, abraços. There you go.